me Chiku from Chiku Study Corner, and today we'll be dealing with the part 2 of organisms and population. That's class 12 biology CBSE chapter 13. Okay, so let's begin our learning. So in the previous session, in part 1, I mentioned about what there's a pathway of how this terms organisms, population, community, biome is related, and also we discussed about how that pathway is similar to the pathway of our body. Secondly, we discussed about the biomes, different kinds of biomes, and then we discussed about how many types of factors. There are 2 types of factors, and we were discussing the first kind of factor. What all did we discuss in the previous session? We discussed about we discussed about water and temperature. In this session, what all are we going to discuss? Soil and light, and also the responses to what? The abiotic factors. So why do we wait? Let's get into the chapter. First thing, as I told in the previous session, we'll be dealing about the rest of the 2 abiotic factors, and next the responses to these abiotic factors. So first let's see what's the third abiotic factor. The third abiotic factor is light. So what is an abiotic factors? So we know that basic human life or basic life on earth is sustained by the food you take. So for the preparation of food, either for herbivores they need plants, for us we need animals, we need also plants too, because if you want animals, then animals has to feed on something and then it has to survive. So anything, it is from the very basic plants life is sustained, and that because like without plants, you know, the herbivores cannot live. Without hunting, these other organisms cannot live. So food is important. For photosynthesis, what is the main component that we have learned? We have learned that photosynthesis requires sunlight or light. So that's very important. So for autotrophs, light is the source which helps in the process of photosynthesis. It's the energy. So what is that? It's an energy that gives energy that is to the plants for photosynthesis. So usually the source of light on earth is sun. We always say sun gives light, sun gives heat. So sun is the source of light on earth. And then intensity and time period or requirement of light is different for different organisms. Some might need high amount of intensity of light, some might need low intensity of light, some might live in the day, some might live in the night, etc. So, according to the intensity and time period, there is different types of plants. These plants, some plants need only low light, some need well-lit atmosphere. Some will have, there are plants who needs light during the day. Some are plants which needs light during the night or during whole of the time. We've seen small plants kept in lit rooms, etc. So, according to the requirement of light, plants are divided into short day plants and long day plants. Short day plants require only sunlight for a particular amount of time. But whereas for long day plants, they need long intensity of light for a long period of time. So their requirements are different, and hence they are called as short day plants and long day plants. So next we talked about, this is all about plants, no? So now we have something called as animals. So does this sunlight affect us? How does it affect us? What is the use of sunlight for us? Do you think without the sun rising, can you even see something or walk to your way? You cannot always use your mobile phone to have a flashlight and then walk, because we do most of our things by seeing. So if there is no sun rising or there is no light on earth, what would have happened? There wouldn't have been days, only nights would have existed. And that would be so terrible, because during late night works for us, it's so hard because it strains our eyes even though it is a well lit room. Okay, so these animals, these sunlight can influence the metabolism, the rate, etc. what happens inside your body, which would in turn affect adversely in what? Reproduction, migration and 4, aging. Okay. So, to talk about vitamin D that we get from our sun, do you think it isn't important? Yes, it's very important for your health. Vitamin D is a source that gives you energy, that is obtained from a source that gives light too. So, vitamin D is also something that affects the body of an animal. And also, have you heard of people saying about the light? Light can have 7 colors, they have different components, etc. So, the lights have different components, and most of the components of the light or most of the colors of the light doesn't reach organisms, plants, etc. under the sea. Okay? So, what happens? They are adjusted to that way. If you keep a plant which is growing underwater outside, what happens? There is lot of sunlight, heat and everything from outside which will destroy the plant. Same way, these light intensities are important. And also, let's say, the spectral quality of light is very important, because if the spectral quality is not nice, like UV rays can cause harmful effects on your body. It can make you blind, have skin cancers, etc. So, that is the talk about light. So, the main source of light is what? Sun. And next point we learn is what? Autotrophs require light for the photosynthesis, because sunlight produces a source of energy. And intensity and time period are different for different plants and organisms. And talking about animals also are affected by the light. So what all are they affected in? They are affected in the reproduction, migration and aging. So now let's discuss about soil. Abiotic factor number 4 is what? Soil as told. So let's learn. The nature and property of soil is dependent on the climate. The weathering process, whether it is carried away or whether it is sedimented, the soil is of different types. And also, different types of soil give rise to what? Different kinds of pH level, the different topography, etc. So, soil is very important in the growth of plants. Some plants only grow in black soil, some grows in red soil, some in slimy soil, etc. So, soil, the other factor that depends on the vegetation is what all? Topography, pH of the soil, the mineral composition. So, that is very important for the vegetation. And also what happens, if any of these factors have been changed, then there will be a change in the lifestyle of the plant. Okay? So, according to the lifestyle of plants, or where all certain plants grow, only animals can live. In a forest where there is so many animals in one place, over there another predator or a prey, both of them have to be there. But the prey eats vegetables. There's no vegetables over there. It's a barren land. Just imagine there's a forest and also a barren land. First is the barren land case. So over there, there's an predator and a prey. The prey eats grass, but there's no grass. The prey eats vegetarian. So it's in herbivores and it doesn't have food. So what would happen eventually? They will move out and move to the forest. The same way, if there are no vegetarian organisms in the forest and there are so many carnivorous organisms, what would they do? They would find a place where there is another carnivorous or another organism which can survive in its plot, and then it will move and have its food. So, the distribution of plants and animals are dependent on soil and the growth of plants, etc. So, that is to talk about the abiotic factors. Now, let's see the responses. Now, we'll discuss about the responses of different abiotic factors by different organisms. So, first thing that we have to learn is regulators. So, what does the word regulator mean? Regulator means to maintain or to adjust something in the same manner. Okay? To maintain the same flow. So, what is the regulator meaning over here? What is homeostasis? An organism would love to stay in homeostasis. So, what is homeostasis? That is, throughout the life there should be a constant body temperature as well as a constant osmotic pressure. See, these two are the factors. Okay? Then, what all can show homeostasis? All birds, all mammals, all vertebrates, all lower vertebrates, and also some invertebrates show homeostasis. whereas other organisms cannot show homeostasis. The cold-blooded organisms cannot show homeostasis. And so, not only homeostasis, regulation also. It's not only enough that constant temperature and constant osmotic concentration. There should be other factors also that should be regulated for your body to function properly. So, in human body, during summer, human body is always at a temperature between 37 degrees Celsius. Okay? And during winter, what happens? When your atmosphere is more colder, your body produces more heat. By what? When it's cold, do you start shivering? Do your knees hit each other? That is because your muscles move to produce energy and heat. So what? Your body is still warm. So that is what is happening. So at summer, our body temperature rises, we feel feverish, etc. because our body is producing heat for us to adjust with the environment. That is what is regulators and homeostasis. Now your temperature is a constant because outside if it's 28, if you have 37 inside, there's there's a concentration difference and there might be some issues causing, maybe your lungs can collapse, etc. So that is to talk about the first response, regulators. So under regulators, the most important point is homeostasis and the temperatures, and about the shivering also. What happens when you shiver? Your muscles will get activated, your muscles will start moving. When you do an exercise, what happens? Your body is producing heat. It starts heated up. So what happens? Your fat gets burned. The same way when you shiver, what happens? Your muscle is moving. Your muscle is moving. So what happens? Energy is produced, thereby heat is also produced. And then your body feels warm. So the next factor that we have to learn is about conformers. So what's conformers? We learned what is regulators. They can maintain their body homeostasis. But what is conformers? They're the opposite. That is, organisms that cannot regulate body temperature is known as conformers. Okay? So, to maintain body temperature, what does that mean? What is temperature? So, thermo. Okay? Thermoregulation. What do you mean by thermoregulation? The regulation of temperature, body temperature is known as thermoregulation. And this thermoregulation is an energetic process which requires energy. Okay? So, this is an energetic process. So, what is thermoregulation? The regulation of body temperature. And the next point is heat gain or heat lost. Okay? What happens? They are a function of surface area. Okay, surface area is mentioned as SA. So, loss or gain of heat is known as, it's not known as, it is a derivative or it's a function of surface area. Excuse me. And small animals, we have all seen small animals. What is that? They have a larger surface area compared to the volume. So, since that there is more heat released or heat absorbed, so lose body heat very fast. Okay, so these are the points that comes under conformers. Now so next we have to learn about partial regulators. So what is partial regulators? Regulators, I told what is regulators, they can control, they are having a homeostasis. But over here, they can, regulate the temperatures but up to a particular range. After that, they work as conformers. So what is this? First, they will act as what? Regulators. They will regulate temperature to a limited range. And then what happens? Then after this limited range, that is after this, what would happen? They will become what? Conformers. Did you get my point? First, what will they do? They have a particular range till which they can adjust and adapt and they will regulate their bodily homeostasis. They will maintain homeostasis to a particular range. That's a limited range. After that, they will act as conformers. Okay? So that is the first one, partial regulators. The second one, let us talk about is these many animals which when they are under extreme stress of atmosphere or of their environmental conditions, they start moving from one place to another place where they find what? Comfortable. Here it's a harsh climate or harsh surrounding. This is a comfort one. So they move to a comfy one. Okay? migratory birds which moved to Kelideo National Park, that is in Rajasthan. Where in the winter times there's a lot means a lot of what migratory birds. Migratory birds. Next, these organisms, some organisms. First we'll discuss about this and then we'll discuss about this. So over here, these bacteria and fungi and all many other organisms have to adapt to their surroundings. So what does they do as a response of these climatic conditions, change in soil, etc.? What would they do? They would have thickened wall spore. Okay, so they will have a thick wall spore. What will have? Bacteria and fungi. BF. Both of them would have what? Thick wall spore. And this would help them to resist the extreme conditions. If it's hot, they will like help them in some way, or if it's cold also, it will help them in some way. So this is like other organisms. What does they do? They stop their bodily functions for a time period. That is during winter, when they stop their bodily function, it's known as hibernation. So this is for winter. Okay, and for summer, what happens? It's called as estivation. So what is that? There are organisms which stop their bodily function and go for a sleep. That sleep is a long sleep which would help them, resist or help them overcome the harsh climatic conditions or harsh situations. So these two are the terms. One is estivation and the other one is hibernation. So what is estivation? Estivation is the sleeping or the complete rest during summer, and hibernation is the complete rest or sleeping during winter. So that is to talk about all the responses. Now we have to learn about adaptations, population growth, population density, etc., which we will be reading in our next session. I hope you might have understood the video. If you have understood it and liked it, please give my video a huge thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you are new to it. And share my videos with your other friends. So if you haven't watched the previous part, make sure you watch it and still keep waiting for the next session. So see you on my next video. Till then, bye-bye.